We're back with Bronco Chat. David Gentili joined by the head coach of Santa Clara women's basketball, Bill Carr. Coach, another good stretch for your group. 6-3 in your last 9. You're 7-5 as you hit the home stretch of West Coast Conference play. What are your overall thoughts on how your team has been performing as of late?
Well, David, I think we're doing pretty well. I mean, you just mentioned it. We're 6-3 in our last 9. We went down to LA and swept Pepperdine. We split this past weekend here at home. Finished off the weekend with a nice win against St. Mary's. There's still room for improvement, and the beauty of that is when we talk about that, everybody in the locker room, everybody in the program agrees with that, right? So that's a great sign. If everybody's willing to come in and keep getting better, we'll make a run at this thing at the end. We got a nice stretch of games coming up. We're heading to the Northwest this week. We're going to make up a game at LMU next Tuesday. And then we got at San Francisco, who I think might be playing the best, or really, Gonzaga is obviously playing well, but USF's playing great. And then we finish with BYU and San Diego. So we're going to need to get better. We're going to need to be competitive, but we put ourselves in a really good spot, and we got to go, try to win some of these.
Let's take a trip through last week's games. The first 2 in Levy Center in almost a calendar year for you and the group. Had to have been nice to be back home. I want to ask about the Pacific contest. And one thing that you brought up, that was a tough game for your group. But something that you mentioned repeatedly is, I know there's no quit in this group. I see that every day. We've heard that from you a couple of times. I'm interested to know, could you dive a little deeper, give us some specifics on what you see out of your group when you face some adversity like that, how they bounce back, and how that makes you say, yep, I know that's our team. I know we're resilient, and we're going to get right back up and keep fighting.
Yeah, I think everybody goes through, a long year. Everybody loses a couple that are head scratchers. And then how do you respond to that? And we've lost some games where we weren't our best, and we've been able to come back the next game and have a good effort. And not only in the next game, David, but right away in the next practice, right away in the next film session. They kind of get back to being focused again. And Thursday night, obviously, nobody was real proud of that effort in the program. But the things that I saw in the fourth quarter of that game, where we kept playing hard, and there was a group of players on the floor that, kept playing, and we whittled down the score a little bit. And then into the locker room after the game, the things that I heard from the team about the effort, about what they want, about how they're going to change it was exciting for me as a coach. And then the next day of practice, I felt that they were very focused and ready to go for the next challenge. Our film session was good. Our prep for personnel was good. And then Saturday morning, David, our shoot around maybe had been one of the best we had all year from a technical focus, urgent. You could see the urgency in their eyes. And then we went out and played. And St. Mary's, they're a good team. They shoot it well. And we were able to get up on them. And, they fought back like good teams do. And then we put them away at the end. So this team has done that a couple times this year. And it's not a group that feels sorry for themselves after a loss. They get mad. Obviously we're all disappointed. But it just shows the character in the locker room when you can come back from a really disappointing loss, and being home for the first time, playing in Levy for the first time. I'm not sure where the emotions were for Thursday night, but we got it turned around on Saturday, which is a great sign.
And after that win over St. Mary's, you talked with Joe Rizzo, who does a fantastic job for play-by-play for us and doing the post-game interviews with you as well, about the home stretch of that game and closing out that win. I want to ask you about a different stretch of the game. The last 5 minutes, 44 seconds of that first half, you went on a 24-8 run. You made 10 of 15 shots. Really, really good spree there. What was your group doing well to close out, that last big 5 minutes of the first half on a really solid run?
Well, obviously, I think you said it was 24-8. Well, they only got 8 points, so we must have been guarding, right? And we were disrupting their offense. And again, it's not a secret with our team when we guard and rebound, it allows us to go push the ball down the floor, where I think we're really talented and we do good things. So combination of all that, the ball getting to the basket. I know, having watched the replay of the game, we were aggressive going to the basket. We got to the foul line. I think we turned them over a few times. Yeah, that's something that we've been able to do throughout the season, is go on spurts and get a 10-point lead, 12-point lead, go on a nice run. Now, we got to figure out how to hold that and not let them fight all the way back. But we'll do that. But I think the aggressiveness, I think our defense, rebounding led to that nice stretch.
We also got to see what Ashley Maldonado can do offensively. Not somebody that's been a high volume scorer for you. Obviously, Lindsey Van Allen wasn't available for that game, but she looked a lot like Lindsey during stretches late in that second quarter, slashing to the hoop, stop and pop mid-range shot, hit that three right before the halftime buzzer. What do you see out of Ashley to get the little scoring stretch going for her?
Yeah, I thought she played a really great floor game for us. She managed the game. She got her shots. She got other people's shots. Obviously, the three at the end of the half was huge. She got to the rim and got fouled. Really, really good aggressive game for her. And as well as scoring, she ran the team, right? Her and Ashley Hiraki do a really good job, along with Lex, of running our team. And they all take turns doing it. But I thought Ashley Maldonado had a really nice game for us.
We chatted about a lot of the veteran leaders on this team in our past talks. Ashlyn Herlihy, we mentioned Lindsey Van Allen there. Another one of them that we'd be remiss not to talk about before the end of the season is Mare Leville. I want to ask about, I was looking up some stats, a little bit of a season-long trend for her. She scored double-digit figures in 4 straight, 8 of the last 10, going back to that big 25-point game against LMU. It was a slower start at the beginning of the year, 9 games, 7 of them in single digits, or she didn't score any points at all, and then had a couple of games in the 20s. What have you seen since the calendar's turned to January to allow her to steady things out and be more consistent offensively?
Well, I think her start, I think I had something to do with that. Her start of the season, I might have had her in the wrong position. I don't think our offense was getting her enough touches. Em's a great shooter, like Ashlyn, like Bryce, like Lindsay. I mean, we got to get them shots, and Em wasn't maybe getting enough of her shots that she likes. We kind of moved her around in the lineup a little bit, moved her around in the positioning, and she's able to get now a little freer to get her shots. And then she's being more aggressive. She's searching out her points, and not only from jump shots, but she's getting to the rim on the break. She's getting the rim after we maybe turn them over on the press. So she's scoring at different levels as well. And she does a really good job of getting fouled and getting to the foul line. So I think partly me and more of her of being aggressive to get to where she is now, right? To be almost, you can write it in that she's going to be double digits for you. So yeah, having a great stretch right now. We need her to continue to get better and do the things she's doing.
Well, looking ahead to this week, now that you've seen this year's edition of Portland and Gonzaga, let's start with the Pilots since you'll see them first. A team that presses a lot like your team does, and you handled that very well the first time you faced off with them down in Santa Cruz. What do you think it is with your group about being a team that presses that helps you handle that pressure when you see it from other teams?
I think we'll go back to the point guards. I think in that game particularly, both Ashleys and Lexi did a really good job of handling the initial trap, if you will. Got it out of it quick, and then we made plays from there. Portland's a great defensive team. Gonzaga is a great defensive team. So we're going up. We're gonna have to be ready to move the ball. Don't let it stick and attack the rim. And both teams will make adjustments. And then we'll have to adjust and be ready for some different things. But yeah, it's a challenging weekend, like every weekend in this league. But two great defensive teams. You know, Portland's probably going to press us a lot more than Gonzaga will. You know, we were having a good week of practice, so I think everybody's in a good state of mind for the trip.
And matching up with Gonzaga, a very physical group. If it's the press with Portland, it's the physicality with Gonzaga that's definitely a key there. So what do you want to see out of your team? Again, with the caveat that we always know it's a one game at a time mentality.
Sure.
But
sure.
when you match up with Gonzaga, what do you want to see physicality-wise from your group to compete with them?
Yeah, I think number one with Gonzaga, you got to try to keep them off the offensive boards. I mean, they are a machine when they shoot the ball. They go after it and they get it a lot of the times. Veteran squad, you know, have played together a long time. Some really, really good players. You got to try to maybe disrupt them a little bit offensively. You got to take care of the ball, and then you absolutely have to block them out. It will be a challenge.
Big weekend, and like you say, Coach, they always are, no matter where you're at in West Coast Conference play. Bill Carr, head coach of Santa Clara women's basketball. Coach, thanks for your time. Always good to chat with you.
Thanks, David.